Okay, today we are discussing about the minimalism and individualism. So these are two mainstream or two human lifestyle patterns in which people choose different way of approaching life. So what is minimalism? Minimalism is actually the reducing things in life. Things, for example, not only the entities, but not only things, the physical things, but the relationships, etc., to reduce it so that the person is benefiting with a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of space in the mental space to occupy other things like the those which is more useful. So minimalism we can see in many areas like the arts and movies, in paintings and science. A lot of areas or fields are there where the people are experimenting with minimalism. But we are mainly discussing about the minimalism in the lifestyle. So that is minimalism. The second one is what is individualism. Individualism is actually the taking priority or giving priority to individualistic interest rather than the group he or she is involved with. So the person is considering the single unit as the individual, so that he gets more freedom and he gets like time and space, enough time and space to transcend to the higher potential of life rather than compromising within the group. So these are two lifestyle patterns. So we are discussing about the absence of minimalism, what it brings into life. So absence of minimalism means the people are going towards a lot of commodities purchase, for example, a lot of things in life, and a lot of comforts, luxuries, vehicles, and relationships. And relationships in a way is good, but it's too much, and the membership in clubs and other things. So we are just discussing and going through the patterns. First of all, is entanglements. The entanglements can be two things. One is the people or the relationships, or the person who is a member of. So other one is the richness or the plenty of things in life. So the people who are with too much relationships, involved in busy schedules of life, and the busy lifestyle, and a status symbol for the social gatherings and all, clubs and other things, are one kind of entanglements in the relationships and the human entanglements. And other one is the attachment to things, like a person is going to the supermarket and he is buying a lot of things, and he's addicted to gadgets, for example, electronics, and some kind of specific category of gadgets or the things that he's addicted to. So this can lead to an addiction, and this can lead to a kind of crazy behavior to fill the life with a lot of such things. So these two things are mainly against the minimalism. So yeah, of course, people can buy things. What I'm saying is there are two kinds of minimalism. Again, I have to say that. One is the people are purposefully reducing all these things, like the person is detaching from things and relationships and things, commodities and all. So he is physically abstaining from all these things. But I choose the other one, when the people are mentally detaching rather than reducing physically. So that is more, I like that pattern actually, because it is not about the people are buying things and the people are less attached to things, are two different things. So I prefer this thing actually. So what it brings into life, these two kinds of entanglements, is uh, then the life becomes the life of things, LOT, life of things. So there's an internet of things. Like I prefer to call this as life of things, and life of things means we lose, we are getting lack of the time and space, enough time and space to put our prioritize things for individuals. So what is that prioritized things for individuals is, I am talking about from the absolute point of view. So these are the ontological questions or the truth seeking. The truth seeking to find out who he is or who she is. So there are two questions coming from that. One is who am I? Or each person has to ask to himself that who am I? And second one is why I am here. So what is the purpose of my life on earth? So these are two ontological questions every person has to answer. Otherwise, he's not getting into the depth of his own personality or his own persona, rather than beating around the bush to fill things in life. So these are the two basic ontological questions which actually dealing with the truth. What is truth? So this requires truth seeking requires time and space. Time in the sense it requires time. We know that. Space, what kind of space? The mental space. Otherwise, our mind will be occupied with a lot of things. That's why I prefer to call this as this attachment, non-attachment rather than physically abstaining. So that's more suitable to my thinking pattern. So prioritizing things is also getting difficult by a lot of things in life. And second one is the mobile phones in a macro level. Macro level means we'll coming into the micro level in the next slide. The macro level means the person is always connected. Like people are now always connected with, so that he can be reached and he can be talked to. So always somebody will be always on phone. So that again this same thing happens. The lack of time and space to prioritize the absolute things for oneself. The other one is the increased travel. Earlier people used to travel only for a specific big main purpose before some 40-50 years back. So when I'm saying 40-50 years back, I always count with measure it with the church, our church, physical Syriac Orthodox Church or Syriac Jacobite Church, or the church actually, so that we can trace it back to the first century. So church was there, but people can of course connect with other things. But I have we always remember the fathers of Orthodoxy from the old centuries as somebody who just passed by. In every liturgy we remember, in the diptych or the tubden, we remember our fathers who were from the first century, from St. James, and we remember them all as somebody who just passed by. So that's why I think I can just count this 50 years as a simple thing, because every holy liturgy has we remember people from the old century, first century itself. So I'm just, for my sake, people can compare it with different things, but for my sake, I compare with the journey of church and how they think, because we pray the same prayer now also, exactly the same prayer before 1 century, 2 century back, the same prayer we pray in the Orthodox churches. So there's not much difference is there, much difference or deviation is there. So people can compare it with that, because this minimalistic absence of minimalism, one thing I didn't mention in this is actually the 9-to-5 job, the work for life. Work for life, life for work. Life for work or life for money. I just mentioned it. Before 2 or 3 centuries back, people were not like this. Now people are working from 9 o'clock to 6 o'clock or so, and 7 days or 6 days at least, or 5 days at least a week, so that the people getting only few time in order to, very little time in order to put make it available for themselves. So that means the people are majority of that lifetime is working for some people. Many people are dying before some ages, and people are their main aim is to make money. and then money is actually spending, and they have a huge, big lifestyle or the status lifestyle. That is one extreme. The other extreme is the people who have left all these things and went to the monasteries where they were in search of some other things. So we need to compare these extremities, and only we find that this difference. So the life for money concept and the 9 to 5 job and the 7 days or 6 days or 5 days a week is all. Or actually, if we count the time that we put for, is actually mainly for making money. Of course, we need money. What I'm trying to say is the balance is required, because life is more than money. Life is more than what we earn and what we spend. Life is more than that. There are a lot of things there. There are profoundness in life, more profoundness. So this also in turn steals the space and time which can be used for the truth seeking. Again it comes, and all these entanglements is bringing pride into our life, and this pride again is a hindrance to the truth, because a humble mind or humility is required to search for truth, ontological questions. These two questions, ontological questions, are related to truth, and we know that God is truth. Truth is God. So this is a truth seeking or a God seeking. We can say in both ways. Yeah, these whole things are bringing in this absence of minimalism. So when we go to the micro level, this slide is actually about the macro level. Now we're coming to the micro level of things that is brought in by the substance of minimalism. So first one is the mobile phones. Mobile phones we are carrying, that is a big thing, big gadget, big change that people have, so that they are addicted to that. Means many people are addicted to that. Smartphone became more smarter than the people himself, and they think that they have something more smarter than in themselves. No, they have something more than what is outside. So this mobile phones, always we carry it along with ourselves, has increased our energy levels and the chaos in the body, and also it connects to the universal consciousness. That's a term actually derived, I heard it before 30 years or so back, or 20-25 years back, and that means the universal consciousness, it has been evolved, or the term has been evolved not so earlier. So these people their body is connected to this universal consciousness, which brings in a chaotic mind. Mind became chaotic, and this chaotic mind is connected with other people's chaotic mind, and this reduces the individual impact of thoughts rather than a common thought. And again, this will contribute to the lack of time and space for space mainly for the ontological inquiries or ontological quest for finding truths about life. So then the food earlier, the people used to cook in the houses, but now people are going to outside to buy food, and common food culture has been evolved. So people are going to hotels to have the food, and that also makes a common mind, chaotic mind, because food is contributing much to the quantitative mind, and this in turn affects to the quantity, the chaotic mind, which lacks this profound, this calmness. So that person becomes complicated, complexity increased rather than profoundness. So I just want to mention what is complexity and what is profoundness. So I just mentioned about this. Complexity is the entanglement in the same dimension, same realm or the same dimension, rather than in a higher dimension. That means a person can make complicated things complicated, and his mind can be can create complexities in the same level, same realm, same dimension. And profoundness, on the contrary, profoundness is the transcendence to the depths or the heights of entities. And it means not only physical entities, the ontological existence, ontological questions, and so and so. So complexity is just like a net for the birds, where the hunter wants to hunt birds. So he put these nets and put the catches this birds under the net. So the birds are under the net of complexity, so that it cannot rise above that to the higher horizons of profoundness. So that's the difference between complexity and profoundness. Okay, so this increases all these chaoses in the micro and micro level, increases complexity rather than profoundness. But what we require is profoundness, because we have at least few years on this earth, so we need to think about these questions. Otherwise, the person will be defined by outside rather than what he has got inside. So now we are coming to what this minimalism can bring into the minimalism, the presence of minimalism. Now we discussed about the micro and macro level of absence of minimalism. Now we are discussing with what this presence of minimalism, or what this minimalism can bring into a human life. So he has less entanglements. That means he has more time. He has more time and space and a peaceful and harmonious life. And he has more availability of time and space, which contributes to the prioritizing things, and then the truth seeking, the ontological questions, and then profoundness, or instead of complexity, like he is transcending to the higher dimensions of his own existence. So he is finding about himself. He is finding himself. So less entanglements. And the next one is food. We discussed about the food. And food, if we prepare at home, then food has a philosophy. So I want to discuss it in another recording about what is a philosophy of food, and which also creates a clear mind. The homemade foods basically, and this will give time and space. Again, mainly space and time also for this truth seeking about himself. And all these things are bringing humility into the person rather than outside the world. Is like Jesus was saying, that to be away from the yeast of the Pharisees. So what is the yeast of the Pharisees? It is nothing but pride and hypocrisy. Two things are there. Yeast of the Pharisees, pride and hypocrisy. So that is outside world. World and God are in the opposite direction. So we should, if we abstain from that and have our own things, availability of things for our own food, our own body, then we are bringing in more humility. So that humility also is a catalyst for truth seeking. So minimalism, less entanglements. So we have seen what kind of entanglements we have earlier. Like one is things, life of things, and other is life of people, life of relationship, life of entanglements, other physical micro level entanglements, micro level. So the avoiding or reducing these things are actually bringing minimalism of things, and that is less addiction to many things, and also help us to less chaos in the body. And mobile phones, of course, if we reduce the mobile phone time, and especially the shorts and all, and to be the mobile phone, we carry it in a bag rather than in our pocket or hand, then we are decreasing this chaos in our body, which again contribute to a peaceful and less chaotic mind, which will generate calm and peaceful thoughts. Again, this is a space for truth seeking, the prioritizing, truth seeking, on basic ontological questions, and then the profoundness rather than complexity, and it like that we transcend to the higher realms. So this is the advantage of the minimalism when we have that. Now next we go into the individualism. Individualism, we have seen that it is nothing but giving priority to the individuals rather than a group. So what is the macro level impact, macro level things that will be bringing in by the absence of individualism? One is the statement that groups are artificial. Groups are artificial and individuals are real. Because I want to mention it in the next one, but I can mention it here itself, because the person is coming by a bus or some crane. I used to say this like, I got this quote like a baby is getting born alone by a crane. In the earlier some fairy stories like crane puts the baby in front of the house and so on. So crane brings us alone, and a train takes us alone on the other side. So we are going, in Malayalam it's called Koodilla Marikkunna Nerathum Koodilla Janikkunna Nerathum. That means nobody is coming with us. Nobody came with us. Nobody is coming with us. So the journey of the person is highly individual. I call it as solo journey of the soul. So if we think that we have somebody with us and at the time of dying or something, it's all just for our feeling of security. But nobody will come with us and nobody came along with us. So absolutely the journey of the soul is purely individualistic. So the fact that the people are involved in too much groups means they are trying to forget the fact that they are solo. They have a solo journey and they are purely lonely individuals, solo individuals basically. So what is the problem with group? Group requires compromises. Even if we form two people or a husband and wife also, they require a lot of compromises. Think about a class, friends, and we require a lot of compromises, so that sometimes you have to hide our own priority, our own characteristics, so that we will not express it, but we suppress it sometimes. But a person staying alone is actually have a lot of freedom. So individuals are more real. And all these things are, transcendence is relatively difficult in a group because a lot of compromise is required. And lack of time and space for transcendence also is a problem with absence of individualism. And false feeling of securities. So somebody says that I like to be with people. So this is a false feeling of security. Sometimes when the some situation comes, means the person everybody can run away. So this is a false feeling of security. And lack of time and space, and we already lack of clarity of priorities, because compromise is required in a group. Entanglement of relationships and other things also. So again, this has a common thing with the absence of minimalism, because individuals can be addicted to things or the relationships also. Next we go to the absence of individuals in the micro level. Micro level is lack of what it brings, the lack of absence of individualism, it brings connected minds. It creates a connected minds with the people. Again, it contributes to lack of individual or calm thoughts, so that profoundness is not complexity rather than profoundness is coming into this. Our mobile phones always connects with us, and again this chaotic mind, and again the same thing in the absence of minimalism. And shared common shared common space and time. Shared common space and time means the person can share same time, means he is losing his priorities. Sometimes he has to adjust with the priorities, and relatively this is okay. In office and all is okay, but in a absolute sense, the person has to find his own time in order to transcend to the higher realms. The lack of reading and lonely times, he's missing that, uh, and shifts and changed spaces, changed sleep patterns. Like the people go to the shift, is actually missing the calmness of night. They have to work. They have to. There's no other option sometimes, but they have the different sleep pattern. Again, it brings chaos into the body, and that creates a chaotic mind. Because a calm mind is required to for a transcendence to the higher realms, to think calmly about profound realms, profound thoughts rather than complexities. And this all brings a lack of lack of innovation, so that he's actually getting entrapped into the bored routine rather than an innovation or vision. So it contributes to lack of truth seeking and the absence of individualistic impact on things and people. So again, now we going to the absence of individualism in a micro level. Micro level also we have seen. Again, we go to the individualism. What individualism can bring into our life. Individualism can bring into individuals are real. Again, we remember the first saying that the groups are artificial and it is compromised, rather than individuals are real. And transcendence is relatively very easy for an individual rather than a group. And solo journey of the soul, we have seen this, and less compromises and we can prioritize things for ourselves. And in individualistic minds, time and space, individual time and space for transcendence, we get that. And less entanglements and less connected minds, prioritize individuals are real. We know that a solo journey of the soul. So all these things, food again, if we prepare for ourselves our own food. So I just said that the food has a philosophy inside that. Philosophy means not a higher philosophy but a tangible philosophy. That means the order of creation of things from the consciousness to the earth. It's a sequence of creation from the 5 basic elements. So food is very much important for a person in order to have a mind which is capable of transcending himself to the higher realms. So we have seen this actually. So all these things are, in conclusion, we can say the minimalism and individualism are going hand in hand. And individualism is actually a kind of minimalism, that he is saying that, or say, okay, I want to minimalize people also in my life, and to the extreme level I am going to minimalize things. So that is called individualism. So all these things, we can say conclusion that all these things contribute to the more time and space to the person, so that he can time means, we know that, and space means mental space. Rather than occupying a lot of things, a lot of people in our life, we can have prioritized things for the absolute truth, so that the person can transcend to the higher realms with a profound mind rather than a complicated or complex mind which entangles people in the lower realms. But we transcend to the higher horizons of freedom and find ourselves the real us in there, real us there in the above the horizons. We find that. So what it brings in is actually we are increasing, we are raising our consciousness, the horizons of consciousness. Each time we think about the truth, truth seeker is increasing his horizons of consciousness slowly, so that he is defining himself in a more and more profound way rather than a complicated or complex way where he has no time to think about all these things. So I think I just gave enough valid points to substantiate my the fact that these are very good for our higher transcendence. Thank you very much.